So let me ask you this then: was the Super Bowl halftime show meant to be a statement or entertainment?
I think it was both. Was it more?
No.
Was it meant to be for Kendrick, or are you saying as for the
For
Super
as
Bowl?
a viewer, are you coming to hear a statement or are you coming to be entertained?
Am I coming first? I'm coming to be entertained, but as an
Hmm.
entertainer, I'm coming to make a statement within my entertainment. And I know that may be a huge jump, but I liken it to James Brown. I'm black and I'm proud. That's a statement, but that's a
You know
song that's
what?
entertaining at the same time.
You won me over with that one.
Let's go, let's go, let's grow, let's grow, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's go, let's go, let's grow, let's grow, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's go, let's go.
Going on, we are Black Dad Unfiltered. I'm your boy Carlos V. Spencer, and I'm here with
Boy, Coach Rod. Again, Carlos, we always trying to change the narrative on black men, black fathers through authentic conversation. What we got on deck?
Man, we got a trending topic, man, that we had to do a special episode, special drop in. This thing is everywhere. Everywhere I'm turning on social media, I see Kendrick Lamar, I see the Super Bowl, I see memes from pictures, I see video clips, I see Uncle Sam with Samuel L. Jackson. A lot of subliminal messages. Some people saying that it was a great, intelligent performance. Some people saying it was the worst performance ever in Super Bowl history. So you got people on both ends of the spectrum. So I
Hmm.
said, talking to you, why not us jump on here and have a conversation about it, man? Black Unfiltered. What do you think about it? Because there's a lot of things when it comes to black people.
Hmm.
People are chiming in on this. I even had some people reach out to me, and I'll dive into that a little bit later, and actually call me on the phone and ask me about it. And these are people from different cultures. So I mean,
Sure,
what's your
sure.
take from just I guess from jump face value or even a little bit
Hmm.
more depth, man? What are you getting from it?
So it's interesting because I didn't watch the Super Bowl, so it wasn't until you hit me up that I was like,
Hmm.
I hear all the chit chat, so I went and watched it, and a couple of things went through my mind. One, I always love when our people get the stage.
Hmm.
Like I will never downplay someone getting the stage. Um, and I was trying to pay attention because I didn't see it in real time, and I got to see what was going on social media. I was paying attention. A couple of things I said to myself: if I'm going to be real with you, it's I hate rap concerts, right? Because if you don't know the lyrics, it's a
Yeah,
done deal
yeah.
for you. You don't understand nothing that's happening. So I said
It's
to myself, if
over.
I was, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I go to concerts where I know the artist, because then okay, I ain't gonna be able to hear what you're saying with 60,000 people.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing I thought about was, because I don't really listen to this stuff anymore. I was like, I don't know anything he's saying.
Hmm.
But when I watched it a couple of times, I understood what he was saying. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understood, especially when he said, I forgot what the words he used to set it off, but he kind of gave you the tone of what he was getting ready to do. And I was like, I respect that. But if I'm being the devil's advocate, now have you hurt the stage for somebody else?
Mm.
Have you
Well,
made this go ahead?
now I'm saying, why would you think he hurt your stage? But you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just curious. So I
Hmm.
don't know. Like, but this is a question I asked myself because it was a polarizing performance. Some saying it's the worst of all time.
Hmm.
There's a guy that I just saw, Robert Davies, a famous actor, talking about his tired of this ghetto music. He's a famous actor now.
Hmm.
So I don't really give much caution to that. But I said, okay, will this stop the NFL from having another artist of this caliber on the stage?
Hmm.
Right? Because the NFL is all about protecting the brand, right? This is not a
Hmm.
sports
Hmm.
conversation, but I thought about that. I said, okay, if I was there, was I actually entertained? Was this like a
Hmm.
Prince performance? Was this like an Usher performance? Could I actually, vibe to this because it was
Hmm.
a performance? Then I said, okay, was this the stage to make a statement? I'm gonna say yes, but
Hmm.
you still have to ask yourself that. And then I asked, was what was the actual desired outcome from this? Like, what were we trying to accomplish here
Hmm.
on this stage?
From
Mhm.
you saying that too, just a few things. One, definitely with great conversation, you and I always have, do you hurt the stage for a future performer? Was it a great performance? I think that from that space and asking that question, there's been a lot of artists who are from other genres who have been terrible. I'm being unfiltered, right? We've been unfiltered here. And
Yeah.
there have been artists who aren't quote unquote hip hop artists. They could have been pop artists or other things where I'm like, yo, I could have did something else with my time. Like I can pull
Yeah,
some of
that's
them
a
up.
good
Like this
point.
wasn't good. This wasn't good at
But
all. You know what I'm saying?
but that's a good point. But I hear what you're saying because you're trying to talk about comparing apples to apples. When it's black people, it's
Yeah,
never apples to apples. So get that
that's
out your
true.
equation, right?
I
You
don't
you
know. I got to keep it in there though.
you can't because you're not the decision maker. So you
Uh huh.
thinking about if Britney Spears has a horrible performance, it's not going to stop Taylor Swift. It's not going to
Hmm.
stop. I don't even know their names. Good Lord, I feel embarrassed. Well, I'm not embarrassed, right? It's not going to stop them. But a
uh-huh.
Kendrick Lamar may stop. I don't. Someone else up and coming because it's just a
I don't.
greater
Well,
blatantly there. I
maybe
don't know.
hip
I'm just
hop.
asking.
I don't think he would stop other black artists. I
That's what I
could
mean. I'm talking
see
about hip hop
damaging maybe
specifically.
some hip hop artists. I could see
That's
that.
what I was alluding to. But then,
Okay.
in addition to that, because Kendrick is so sophisticated, the guy's a brilliant talent. He's
Right.
a genius. I put him up there with certain artists that they just have a particular knack for doing things.
Right.
But then I said, okay, go back to it. What was the desired message? Was this a statement for your people? And could a majority of people understand what you were saying? Because a lot of people can't understand unless you're hardcore hip hop, the nuances and the wordplay of Kendrick Lamar. So,
But you know what? I'll say this though. He's got a
mhm,
lot of crossover audience. Today, I'm literally leaving out the mall and I
mhm,
see 3 or 4 white kids pull up and they bumping Kendrick Lamar. And they like and this is not some kids from
uh-huh,
the inner city.
sure.
So I can see maybe older people from other cultures, but I think older people in general might be missing it. So from Kendrick Lamar and other artists, I think from that era, I think
Hmm.
especially when you get a hip hop artist as big as he is, I think he's crossed over to the point where he is
Yeah,
reaching the
nah.
masses.
Yeah,
I think
nah.
he is reaching different people. I don't
I,
know.
I
What would you say?
no disrespect. You know what I mean? I always
Okay.
respect you, but I'm gonna just be who
Yeah.
I am. Like don't get it twisted. 3 or 4 kids don't make crossover. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
when we talk about crossover, you're talking about Snoop Dogg. You're talking about 50 Cents. That's crossover. That's massive crossover.
So I got
Kendrick,
something for you then.
go ahead.
From your point, Dr. Dre had Snoop Dogg, he had 50 Cent, he had Mary J, and he had Kendrick Lamar and Eminem. Kendrick Lamar was with that bunch of
But
global artists.
and so those the Dr. Dre, the Snoop Dogg, the 50 Cents, the Eminem, they made it okay. Now we can bring this back again the next year. I don't know if they made it, but I felt like okay, that performance was legit. It was dope. A lot
Mhm,
of bangers that cross states, West Coast, East Coast. There's a lot of bangers there.
mhm.
And then now, like I said, when we hear Kendrick, and then I'm all for Kendrick, and I want to
Mhm.
get into the nuances because I want to really talk about what you heard and saw.
Yeah.
But when you got into the nuances, I had to ask myself these questions, just being objective,
Mhm.
right? Because again, I'm always going to be for my people. But I had to be objective. I was like, dang, if I had paid $10,000, I probably would not want to hear a rock concert during the Super Bowl because I probably won't even know. I won't be able to hear it.
Mhm.
That's just me. Now, the part that I did love was Samuel L. Jackson because
Mhm.
Sam's my man. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Going back to
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, no, I won't stop yelling. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Samuel
Uh-huh.
Jackson did.
Uh-huh.
So, what'd you walk away with?
Yo, interesting enough how you bring up the Sam Jackson piece, man. And while I
Hmm.
was watching it when he first came in character, yeah, I was actually watching the Super Bowl. I was over some of my family's house, and interestingly enough, it was older family members, and it had
Hmm.
my younger cousins. And some of my
Yeah,
younger cousins, they weren't even watching the Super Bowl. But when it was time for the halftime show, they came in, and somebody in the room about 2 or 3 minutes in says, yo, he's Uncle Sam. I didn't get it at first. I was like, that's genius. Sam Jackson playing Uncle Sam and him being the narrator of this, the revolution will not be televised
that's
type event.
That's what he said. That's what Kendrick said.
That's
Thank you.
why
The
he said
revolution.
that
Mhm,
the revolution will not be televised. Sam Jackson's narrating it as Uncle Sam. And at the beginning of it, I don't know if you saw this too. At first, I kind of missed it, but then I paid attention to it because so I think somebody was brought it back to my attention. But they also showed a huge shot. The total platform was a video game. Did you see that part? It was actually
I didn't make the connection. I saw the thing, but I didn't make all these nuanced connections.
so it was a bit. It's like so sometimes people are stretching, right? It's like man, people just trying to make it deep, make it this, but it was actually a game controller. So it was like I don't know if it was Xbox or PlayStation. It probably was PlayStation because I think it was an X. It was a triangle, and there were these different buttons. Hence the term playing the game. And going back to what you said about Kendrick Lamar, he's very well thought out.
Mhm,
The things that he does seems to be very calculated. So
mhm,
some of the things that he was doing with the Sam Jackson, with the video game piece, and with Sam Jackson playing Uncle Sam, narrating and starting off saying
mhm.
things like, you need to play it safe. You can't
Yeah,
do
I appreciate that. Yeah.
you can't do something too far out. You know, you can't
Mhm,
go
mhm.
outside the bounds too much. You got to
Yeah.
kind of be safe for them per se. So
Mhm,
that's what I was picking up from Sam Jackson, which also made me feel like the narration as well as the performance as a whole was speaking to the experience of Black America, was speaking to the experience of Black men. Because when I even watched it back over again, I said, wow,
mhm,
this is a game. We're playing a game. While playing this game, you got to be careful. You and I both know as Black men, when we show up in this world shows up and responds to us as Black men as soon as they see us, and there are some assumptions that they put onto us before you
mhm,
even hear us say a word. So we got to play the game. So we got to stay inside the bounds, inside the game. Don't color outside the lines per se, and play it careful as Sam Jackson was narrated. Don't do something that's too wild or do something that's too outside the lines or something too Muhammad Ali-ish. Those are
mhm,
the things that
mhm.
I was picking up. Wow, man. How about you when you saw the whole Sam Jackson piece?
I ain't picking none of that up.
yeah,
It wasn't until you explained it to me. Again,
yeah.
this is why, always showing love to Kendrick. And again, when I rewatched it, because my mind wasn't prepared for that.
Mhm.
When I rewatched it and I had to listen to the song list, I had to deliberately, intentionally listen to the words. That's when I said, "Oh, I see what Los is saying now. I see how this is playing out." Some of it was just very overt,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
when towards the end when Sam Jackson, especially, and I appreciated it. But again, just me asking myself bigger questions. What was the desired outcome?
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
get it. You're probably on the biggest stage ever. And I looked at the numbers. NFL has 14, I think 14 YouTube followers. The video that I played, that the official
Is it
NFL video of
14?
the
14
14
YouTube.
million. Yeah,
14
yeah.
million. Okay.
Yeah, 14 million, sorry. The video when I last checked, which is before we jumped on this call, was 38 million times played.
Mhm.
So that's why I sat there and say, I wish I could have. I wish there's an interview. I hope there's an interview where we
Mhm.
dive a little deeper into this to find out, hey, what was the game plan? Like, what were you trying to accomplish? Uh, was this again? Was it the start of a revolution? Because again, piggybacking off his success, he brought East Coast, West Coast together on the stage. He brought blue and red together on the stage. So when I watched it again and I had a greater appreciation, I was like, this man is brilliant. But again, it's one of those people where are you too smart that I can't keep up with you now? And
Right.
you know what I mean?
No, no, I get it. I get it too, man. For Black men too, one of the things that I even said to you was someone put a post up. It was a Black woman friend of mine,
Yep.
and the title of her post with a picture. It was a picture of Kendrick Lamar, the performance that he had when he had Black men dressed in blue, red, and white, and they were the American flag. They were pretty much arranged as the American flag, which to me is a lot of symbolism as well. That Black people are the fabric of America. Black people have made up America. Black people are foundational when it comes to America. You can't have America without having black people. Those are some of the
Mhm.
things I picked up. But one thing that she said about her post was black men are genius.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah, for
struck a
sure.
chord with me, man, when I saw her say that. And this is a saying that I have. And I said this when I reposted it after seeing hers.
Mhm.
Greatness is never realized that it's actually great until after it's been great. So
That's
greatness
a
is
fair
not
point.
usually realized during its
Mhm.
greatness.
That's what
Greatness
I
is
walked away
never
with. Yeah.
realized while it's being great.
Yeah. Yeah. I walked away. I walked away with it. I did pick up on the red, white, and blue.
Mhm,
I just found myself looking at tiny details. So I said I probably lost the bigger picture in the performance itself.
mhm.
But for me, it was a win because we're old enough. What Super Bowl number was this? 50 something. You know, we're old enough to be alive during Super Bowl 19 and 20 and all those numbers, and to see someone that looks like me, dresses like me. I love that he had the Deion Sanders sneakers on prime
Mhm.
time, which is big with what Prime is doing in Colorado.
Right,
So to see the
right.
representation meant the world to me. That I will always say, like, whenever we can, I want us to win. But when someone says to me, "How'd you walk away with this?" My business mind is just playing through different scenarios and saying, "Okay, where does this go from here?"
Mhm.
Like, how do we? It's already creating conversation, which is dope. I also
Right.
love what I do love when Black people step up and show out. It forces people on the fence to declare something. It
True.
doesn't force them; they volunteer it. Funny
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah, but it
right? This
kinda
ain't
draws that
politics,
line in the sand. It kinda says which side are you gonna be on? And you gotta kinda
right?
show yourself unless you don't say anything at all.
So, again, like I told you, you got to see the clip from this guy, Robert Davy, last name
Mm.
Davi,
I'm about to
and
check it out.
he's been on, I think Law and Order. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Like once you see
Mhm.
his face, you can be like, oh,
Yeah.
this dude said Uncle Jan, he said Samuel Jackson was monkeying around.
Wow.
He's tired of this ghetto music. Jazz was real music, which back in the day, jazz was ghetto music for people
Right.
don't realize.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And when I heard that, that's probably when I felt more proud of Kendrick,
Mm.
right? But I also say to myself, um, I don't want it to be lost. Like I said, I grew out of sort of some of the music,
Mhm.
so I'm just like I don't want it to be lost. But I
Well, I
know it's divisive now.
it is right, very true. And I'll give a little bit of substance to the statement I said, which I think can speak to this.
Hmm.
Again, I said greatness is never realized while it's being great. It's usually realized after. So I use a lot of times for an example, Muhammad Ali. When
Sure.
Muhammad Ali was going around saying, "I'm the greatest of all time. I'm so pretty. I'm gonna knock this one out and that one out." And when he was doing this as a young man before he became a champion, even after he became a champion, black and white people were saying, "You need to shut your mouth, young boy. You need to be
Yeah.
put in your place. You need to be taught some respect. You need to
Sure.
respect the sport. You need to stop being so loud and so brash." All that stuff. Now, many say he's the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
Especially when people talk about what you did in the sport and outside of the sport. Usually, Muhammad Ali is at the top of that list. But while he was actually doing it, people were having these types of conversations saying that he wasn't great, saying that he thinks too much, saying
Yeah.
that he thinks he's too high, saying that he's too arrogant, all this stuff that
Hmm.
people missed until afterwards when we look back on it and be like,
Sure.
oh, he was genius. So
Oh, I
that's what
mean,
I see with Kendrick Lamar. I see a lot of
of
people who are
course.
attacking it who years later will look at this Super Bowl performance that I wouldn't be surprised if it was studied in college and universities.
So let me ask you this then: was the Super Bowl halftime show meant to be a statement or entertainment?
I think it was both. Was it what
No,
was it meant to be for Kendrick, or are you saying as for the
for
Super
as
Bowl?
a viewer, are you coming to hear a statement or are you coming to be entertained?
Am I coming first? I'm coming to be entertained, but as an
Hmm.
entertainer, I'm coming to make a statement within my entertainment. And I know that may be a huge jump, but I liken it to James Brown. I'm black and I'm proud. That's a statement, but that's a
You know
song that's
what?
entertaining at the same time.
You won me over with that.
Hey, click the like button, click the subscribe, hit some comments, or some information or some questions that you might have. Click the notifications bell so you can be notified every time we have some new content that drops. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's get it.
But again,
Uh-huh.
like I said, I'm happy. I'm happy
Mhm.
again. Whenever I can see our people on stage, it's a W for me. Usher, Prince, uh, what's Beyonce? It's a
Mhm.
W. So I love that. I don't know if I'm in a position yet to really fully understand what Kendrick Lamar accomplishes. I still gotta go because it's too nuanced. Like you just put me on like the game controller. It's so much I gotta dissect in that. But the
Mhm.
one thing I am happy about it is creating conversations, and
Right.
it is he has this unique knack of almost galvanizing all of us
Mhm.
to
Yes.
think in in the positive, which is dope. And again, I listened to the song list, right? And I was like, oh wow, okay, because I was forced to. If I was
Mhm.
at the Super Bowl, I would have never understood any of it, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But but now that I'm listening to, it, I'm like, okay, I see how why you picked that song, and I'm listening to the lyrics because the lyrics mean something, you know. And then, but I do feel bad how he dragged Drake one more time.
Yeah,
Good
on a
lord,
global stage. On a
I
global
was like,
stage, bro. That was like
dang man,
checkmate.
right?
Yo.
Yeah, yeah. That, but the
That
message
was yeah.
was, if you listen before he said it, it was the what's the word I'm looking for? Appropriation. It's like when they
Uh-huh.
take,
Yeah.
and he was talking about phoniness and trying to take
Mhm.
what the gifts that we have, and that's when I was like, that's the part that kind of resonated loud with me. Like, yeah, and then you're doing it on the NFL platform where the sport's predominantly played by black athletes, but the people that
Mhm.
run it are white. So
Right.
I thought that was like, wow, this is why I go back and say, well, is this going to be the last time we see this now? You know what I mean? Or,
Right, right. But
do these are these people going to hear from enough people say, hey, do you realize what he was saying and saying, and are they going to
yeah.
be okay with it? And again, you got a lot of now very influential, Caucasian folks up in arms, right?
Mhm.
But the numbers say the video's been played 38 million times in one day.
But see, and to your point though too, you and I both know, and I would say you know this even further and deeper than I do. When it really comes down to it, we talking about the money. So if you getting that many views, you getting that many streams, you getting that many people talking about it, and it's helping your pocket, they might not have a problem with it. I'm just saying.
They may not, but NFL's a little bit different, right? Because
Uh,
their fan base, the players are mostly black, but the
uh-huh.
fan base isn't, and so it's
Mhm.
gonna be interesting. But again, salute to Kendrick Lamar. Um, Even as I watched the performance itself, I was energized by him. Because it's hard for one dude to just hold a whole stadium. And it,
That's the thing.
and the part to me that was dope was bringing out Samuel L. Jackson because I never saw that coming. And number two, Samuel L. Jackson's a Morehouse man. He does represent. You know what I mean?
He
He
does.
represents the community. He's that guy. He's that uncle that he gonna say what he want to say when he want to say it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I love when the generations can just work side by side. That's something else I didn't want to get lost in this. Even though he's playing Uncle Sam,
Yeah.
Samuel
Right.
Jackson is a different generation,
For
and
sure.
he's walking in lockstep with this new generation, saying, "Hey, listen, the old guard is supporting you." So I was like, yeah, that to me was dope.
Yeah, and Kendrick, I don't know the depth of it. I did see Spike Lee repost when Kendrick Lamar says something about 40 Acres and a Mule. That's the
Yeah,
name of Spike Lee's
at least
production company. And Kendrick gave that shot in something like this is more than entertainment. This is 40 Acres
it's
and a
40
Mule,
acres.
something that
Yeah,
space. I was like, he's dropping some stuff here. Spike Lee reposted that on his own page saying thank you for the shout out. And he explained what 40 Acres and a Mule was in the
yeah,
caption. So things like that, along the lines with Shan, with Samuel L. Jackson pulling in and having two different generations, or having a totally older generation coming alongside it. To your point, Samuel L. Jackson had to agree to that. You know, he had to agree to actually want to do it. Samuel Jackson's at a
Yeah.
level in his career where he ain't got to do everything for sure.
Come on, man. What is the Nick Fury? That's Nick Fury, man. You know what I
Listen,
mean? That's Nick
Samuel,
Fury
he
money.
done more movies than Denzel. I remember Denzel giving him some flowers at an award show, and Denzel was saying how many movies he's actually done. I think he's done more movies than any actor in history.
He's
His
considered the
portfolio,
hardest working man
yeah.
yeah, because
So
remember
Samuel
it
L.
dates back. Mhm.
To your point, and we talked about this off camera a little bit, and we can go ahead and wrap it up soon too, because this is a great conversation. But to your point, Samuel L. is a person who's fought for civil rights. He is a
Yeah,
person who's put his money behind a lot of different black movements and things for black people. And for him to choose it, I think says something too, that he saw something in it
yeah.
to the point where he wanted to agree and he wanted to be a part of it. Yeah.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, to your point, you made a good statement. I think there are few moments in rap history, right? Hip hop culture that you know are studied. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a
Right.
few moments where
Yep.
this song or this performance was bigger than what you can anticipate, right? Or this move. So I can see this being when you talk about Kendrick Lamar's legacy being his, one of his not defining moments, but one of his moments. Because remember, I don't think people realize the guy's won 24 Grammys. When you say he's a Grammys don't mean anything to me, but when you start saying he is I don't know what the word you was when other cultures accept you. I don't know. I forgot what that term was. I don't
Yeah.
think he's
Crossover.
there yet. I don't think it's crossover yet.
Right.
But this may be one of those moments that does make it cross over
Mhm,
per se. You know what I mean?
mhm.
May bring you to places like Tennessee and to Wisconsin, even along this Bible Belt. That and get people to say, well, who is this guy? What's he's about? And listen to more of his music and more of his story. Because who he is also compelling, being that he's with a black woman, and he's been with her for a minute and so
Yeah.
forth. So again, like I said, when you want to talk about this, I was literally like, Los, I didn't watch this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
thank God you did tell me because I watched like 4 or 5 times. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, okay. And I was looking to see when Serena was dancing because I heard Serena came out with
Yeah,
Crip Walk.
yeah. Yep, yep, she sure did.
I was like,
Yeah.
Yo, Kendrick, man, you petty as heck, man. I was like,
Ah,
good Lord, why? But yeah, like, good Lord, man, just
yo,
let it go,
check mate.
let it go, man. Just leave it alone. I
Yeah,
mean, but
come
yeah,
on.
but nah. As far as the Super Bowl performance, again, I'm looking at it from two lenses, man. Was I entertained?
Mhm.
Not necessarily, but was I thrilled? For what it means, absolutely.
Yeah, and same me. Watching it, even watching it firsthand, it wasn't super entertaining. I can honestly say that it wasn't super entertaining, but at the same time, I think it was entertaining enough. He has enough hits where I was like, okay, it was entertaining enough. And I'm a production person, right? So the choreography, the movement, the stage presence, the usage of the stage, those different things to me is like, okay, who if whether he put that together or somebody else put it together, I thought it was well thought out enough to be entertaining enough for that
Hmm.
stage. But I
Sure.
do think at the same time, looking back at it, it's one of those things that I think you'll see. And when I say you, I'm talking about people in general. I think people will see the genius of it the more you watch it and the more you
Hmm.
see what somebody actually did. Because I do think it's a gift to be able to have the gift of entertainment and to bring a message. Everybody can't do that, right? There are a lot of artists who are very entertaining, but there are not a lot of artists who will make you think. That's why we know when we
Uh-huh.
talk about the space of hip hop, you have the KRS ones, you have the Tribe Called Quest, you have the Common, and different people
Yeah.
in that space where they didn't have this huge portfolio or this huge audience or these big selling records because they were so knowledgeable. Because that
Yeah.
skill set is a harder sell, right?
Sure. Let me ask you a question because you just
Yeah,
mentioned something. I know, we wrapping this conversation up. Would you consider Kendrick Lamar the Michael Jackson of rap? Because Michael, a lot of his music had messages in it. And the obvious ones were black and white.
right.
They don't really care about us. but there was a lot of his music had a lot of messages that actually spoke to the community.
And to your point, that's a great point, Rod. To your point, Michael Jackson did it on such a global stage, and he did it in such a space where it wasn't up front in your face, where people were like, "Oh, I don't want to hear that." It was. I heard a clip with Wesley Snipes with Michael Jackson that he said when he went to Michael Jackson's house, he was very surprised at the books that Michael Jackson was reading. He was reading books on civil rights. He was reading
Yeah.
books on the mind, the books on education. He was just like, man, and there's this clip with Wesley. He's like, yo, I didn't know Mike was that deep. I didn't know he was that thought out.
Mhm.
So is he at Michael Jackson level? I don't know. It's hard for me to be able to
Well,
say
not
that.
the level, but
Or
that
as
type
far as
of
in hip hop,
in hip
I
hop,
would
right? Because
I
it's
would
hard.
say
You know
I
what I
would
mean?
say he's probably the closest to it. And I would say that because he's a big artist in hip hop, right? He's
That's what I'm
one of the
saying.
biggest hip hop artists. And to do that on that level, yeah,
So
that's a good
think about it.
comparison.
It's a good. It's again, people listen maybe like you guys are crazy, but just
Yeah,
think about it. We're not saying Michael Jackson who bought the Beatles is Kendrick Lamar, but
right.
just think about hip hop is still niche. No matter how people try to penetrate it, it's still niche, and the cream
Mhm,
rises to the top. But the what Kendrick does in his space, him and J. Cole, right? They're those
mhm,
two. So they're like the Prince and Michael Jackson of this, and I'm glad they're not
mhm.
beefing. You know,
Right, right.
but with like the subtleties and the nuances and it's thoughtful music and
Yeah,
you know what I
man.
mean?
You got
But
me thinking. All I wanna do is that they don't
they don't
really care
really,
about us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, he
you
had
get what I'm
some black
saying?
or white.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He had some
Was it
joints.
Dirty Diana? Listen to Dirty Diana carefully, man.
Yeah.
Like he speaks to what's happening. Anyway, this ain't about Michael, but
But I
you
get the
know,
point. Yeah,
we want to chime into this conversation, drop one or two things on it, and
for
I
sure.
think
For
we did
sure.
that. But it got me wanting to. I'm probably going to play it again a
Same.
couple of
I'm gonna do it
times
again as
because
well.
I just know there's so many things that went over my head, and
Mhm,
and I'm not ashamed to say that I'm actually kind of excited at it because it's like those poets. He's like our Socrates,
mhm,
where we
mhm.
have to unpackage his
Yeah,
lyrics, and that just shows his greatness. So again,
it
shout out to
does.
Kendrick Lamar,
It
and
does.
and shout out for like his love and passion for the
Mhm.
culture.
Yeah, and to be able to do it, like I said, love it or hate it, like you said,
Hmm.
a line drawn in the sand, people kind of show where they are. Not too many people could do it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people who hating on it are people that could never do what he just did.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
it
interesting.
is.
Yeah,
Very
man.
interesting, man. So good
But
talk, man. I'm glad we jumped
yes,
in on
sir.
this. Yeah, glad we jumped in on this, man. We Black Dad Unfiltered. Again, we're always shining the light, bringing the positivity, bringing great conversations. And man, thank y'all for liking, subscribing to the channel, comments. And we know we're going to send some comments and go ahead and send them. We know you're going to get some comments for this one, but we look
Yes,
forward
sir.
to it, man. And we look forward to responding back to those things as well, man. We appreciate all the information we be getting, man. We Black Dad Unfiltered. I'm Carlos
Man,
B. Spencer.
that's your boy, Coach Rob. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's get it.
Sir. All right, y'all.
Let's go, let's go, let's grow, let's grow.